Welcome students. Today I am going to discuss on time domain specifications. In the previous sessions we have developed the expression for step response of a second order system. From the second order system response we can get all the time domain specifications. The time domain specification mainly play the important role for determining the characteristics of a system. So while designing a system, it is very important to adhere to the time domain specifications. That is, based on these time domain specification, the system can be designed either with a fast response or a slow response, and minimizing the oscillations in the final steady state and minimizing the steady state error according to our desired requirements. So in this video session, mainly we will be discussing the time domain specification and its definitions. Then what are the expressions associated with the time domain specification? We can develop the expression for time domain specifications. First, from the graph we define what are the time domain specifications. So first specification is delay time. Delay time can be defined as the time required for the response to reach half of its final value from the zero instant. That is 50% of the final steady state value, this point. So next time domain specification is rise time. It can be defined as the time required for the response to rise from 0 to 100% of its final value. This is applicable for the underdamped system. But suppose if it is overdamped system, the duration can be 10% to 90% of the final value, because in the overdamped system the oscillations will be minimum. We will normally get a transient response only. So in that case, we have to consider the duration from 10% to 90% of the final value. So the next specification is peak time. It is the time required for the response to reach the peak value for the first time. That is first peak of the second order system response. The next one is peak overshoot. It is represented as MP, and it can be defined as the deviation of the response at peak time from the final value of response. It is also called as the maximum overshoot. So here this is the peak time corresponding to the first peak. The difference of the peak value, peak magnitude, the final steady state value, this difference gives the MP, that is peak overshoot. So next is settling time. It is the time required for the response to reach the steady state and stay within the specified tolerance span around the final value. In general, the tolerance spans are 2 to 5%. So in some systems, the system may not reach the steady state, final steady state value. Instead, there may be some oscillation. It will have a sustained oscillations of within a tolerance band of some 2 to 5% of the final steady state value, which is acceptable limit we can allow for the system. It may be 2% or 5%. So the system response to reach within that tolerance band of the final steady state value is called settling time. Next, we will derive the time domain specifications. The first specification is rise time. So here, according to the definition, the rise time is the response to reach the 100%, that is 100% of the steady state value. So from the graph, so here in the final steady state value, its magnitude is unity. Here we have from this graph it is unity. So here what we can do, so we know the final the output equation for the second order system response, which can be written as 1 minus e power minus del omega nt divided by square root of 1 minus del square into sine of omega d t plus theta. So here in this, when this expression is equal to 1, that is final steady state value, then the corresponding time, this time is called the rise time. Here it is from the graph it is mentioned as T2. Actually rise time is from the graph the T2 minus T1. So T1 is the starting time and T2 is the 100%, the response to reach the 100%, the difference is called as the rise time here. So substituting this expression and this will be cancelled, 1 and 1 will be cancelled, then this expression becomes 0. So this becomes 0, then this expression also becomes 0. So you will get sine of omega d t2 plus theta equal to 0. So from this omega d t r plus theta is equal to sine inverse of 0. So sine inverse of 0, its value may be 0 or pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, n pi. Here we consider only the first instance, so we can take it as pi. So omega d t2 plus theta equal to pi. So t2 can be written as pi minus theta divided by omega d. So this is here, here is the t2 as t1 equal to 0 starting time. So this is the rise time. So rise time for a second order system response, the rise time is equal to pi minus theta divided by omega d. Here the theta is nothing but tan inverse of square root of 1 minus del square divided by del. Because already we know that sin theta is equal to square root of 1 minus del square, cos theta equal to del. So sin divided by cos theta is equal to square root of 1 minus del square divided by del. So theta equal to tan inverse of square root of 1 minus del square del. So from this expression you can state that the rise time mainly depends upon the del value, and here omega d we know it is a damping frequency, which is nothing but omega n square root of 1 minus del square. It also depends upon the del damping factor and omega n. So the rise time mainly controlled by either controlling the damping factor or omega n. For a system omega n is fixed constant, so by varying the damping factor value we can control the rise time. So by controlling the rise time you can control the speed response of the system. If the rise time is low, then the speed of the system is improved. That means when you give an input, it instantaneously reaches. How long it takes to reach the final steady state value, that is the rise time. So here when the rise time is less, then it reaches the steady state quickly. If the rise time is large, then it takes long time to reach the steady state value. So we can control the rise time by controlling the damping factor of the system. So next, peak time. So peak time is the time response of the system to reach the first peak. So what we can do in order to get the peak value, so we can apply this condition. So you can differentiate the C of t with respect to time and put in equal to 0. This is the condition. T C of t divided by dt is equal to 0. So this so in order to get the peak time, so when this condition is met, the corresponding time is the peak time. So here I differentiate this expression with respect to time. So what you can do, you can use this formula uv. So we already know for solving the differential equations you can use this formula u dv plus v du. So in this expression, so this is considered as this is v. So in this expression exponential term is taken as u and sinusoidal term is taken as v. So differentiating the C of t with respect to time, 1 becomes 0. So differentiating this u, keep it as it is, then differentiate sin omega dt plus theta as omega d cos omega d t plus theta minus, and differentiate the exponential term, you will get minus del omega n e power minus del omega n t divided by square root of 1 minus del square, and keep the sin of omega dt plus theta as it is. Then you have to simplify this expression in order to get the final time. That is, here differentiating this C of t with respect to time and put equal to 0, the corresponding time, whatever the time represented here is Tp. Okay, you can replace the t with Tp. So next step is you simplify, you modify this expression into a standard form in order to get the final time, peak time. So what I do, this exponential term and square root of 1 minus del square, this kept out and bringing this side becomes 0. So in this side you will get omega n square root of 1 minus del square cos of omega d t plus theta minus del omega n sin of omega d tp plus theta equal to 0. So we know that square root of 1 minus del square is equal to sin theta and del is equal to cos theta. So substituting in this expression you will get, so you can substitute in this, you will get sin theta cos of omega d tp plus theta minus cos theta sin of omega d tp plus theta equal to 0. So this becomes a sin a cos b minus cos a sin b. So sin a cos b minus cos a sin b is sin of a minus b. Okay, sin a cos b minus cos a sin b, which is equal to sin of a minus b. Using this expression you can't write, so here a is theta, b is the omega dt. So now this expression becomes sin of theta minus omega d tp minus theta equal to 0. So theta cancel, so we'll get sin of omega d tp equal to 0. So we know that from this omega d tp equal to sin inverse of 0. So sin inverse of 0 is, again it is pi or t pi. Okay, so tp now becomes pi divided by omega t, that is tp becomes pi divided by omega n square root of 1 minus del square. So this is the expression for the peak time. So again you can see that the peak time mainly depends upon the omega n and del value, that is damping factor and omega n. So for a system omega n is constant, so by varying the damping factor you can vary the peak time. That is, if you provide more damp, that is the oscillation, the magnitude of the oscillation minimizes, according to the peak time also reduces. Okay, so you can control the peak time by controlling the damping factor. Damping factor means it damps the system, that is it slows the response of the system. Okay, the damping factor is very low, you will get more oscillation. If the damping factor is very high, beyond 1, it will have less oscillation or no oscillations. Okay, so by controlling the damping factor, you can control the rise time as well as peak time. Next one is peak overshoot. What is that? The peak, the difference between the first peak and the steady state value, the final value. So this difference will give the peak overshoot is nothing but the difference of C of Tp, the magnitude corresponding to the peak time minus magnitude corresponding to the steady state value. That will give the peak overshoot. So this can be derived. So we know that C of Tp. First we have to find out what is C of Tp. So replace C of T with Tp wherever T is there. Okay, this is wherever is this expression C of Tp. So we know what is Tp. Tp is equal to pi divided by omega d. So substitute this in this expression. So you will get C of Tp equal to 1 minus e power minus del omega n. Tp value is pi divided by omega t. Here divided by square root of 1 minus del square sine of omega d. Tp is pi omega d plus theta. So here you can simplify this expression. Simplifying this, you will get 1 minus e power minus del. Here you can see so here this omega pi divided by omega d is omega n. So you can replace omega d is equal to omega n square root of 1 minus del square, and substitute in this omega n will be cancelled. So you will get e power minus del divided by square root of 1 minus del square divided by square root of 1 minus del square into sine of omega d cancel. So you will get sine of pi plus theta. Sine of pi plus theta is minus sine theta. So sine of pi plus theta is equal to minus sine theta. So substituting here, so you will get, and we know that sine of theta is equal to 1 square root of 1 minus del square, and here this term and this term will be cancelled. So finally you will get C of Tp equal to 1 plus e power minus del divided by square root of 1 minus del square. Okay. This is e power minus del pi divided by square root of 1 minus del square. So MP now becomes C of Tp minus 1. Here steady state value is 1. C of infinity, that is C of infinity equal to 1. So substituting in this, you will get 1 will be cancelled. So you will get MP equal to e power minus del by divided by square root of 1 minus del square. Okay. So in terms of percentage, you multiply with 100. So percentage of MP equal to e power minus del pi divided by square root of 1 minus del square into 100. So percentage of MP is equal to e power minus del pi square root of 1 minus del square into 100. So by using this expression mainly depends upon only the damping factor. Okay. So by controlling the damping factor, you can control the peak overshoot. Okay. So now we have found what is TR, TP and MP. Now we will discuss a problem. We will solve a problem. Normally you will be given the open loop or closed loop transfer function. If it is given open loop transfer function, you find the closed loop transfer function. Okay, so in this problem, first I read the problem. So find the time domain specification of a control system having the closed loop transfer function 4 divided by s square plus 2 del 2s plus 4. So this is the given expression. So the closed loop transfer function is directly given. So 4 divided by s square plus 2s plus 4. Okay, so the problem statement is you have to find out the time domain specifications, various time domain specifications. So what are the time domain specifications? We have to find out the TR, TP and MP and TS, settling time. So here it is given as in order to find out the time domain specification, we need two parameters. What is the damping factor value? The second one is natural frequency omega n value. So it is not directly given in the problem, we have to find out. So from the given problem, okay, that is closed loop transfer function C of S so first write the closed loop transfer function. The next step is write the standard second order system, that is omega n square divided by s square plus 2 delta omega n s plus omega n square. You can compare this expression and this expression, these two expressions. Okay, so comparing these two, in the coefficient of s can be compared and omega n square in the numerator can be compared. So comparing these two expression, omega n square equal to 4, so omega n becomes 2. Substituting this omega n here, so we'll get a 2 delta omega n, that is 2 into 2, 4 del equal to 2. So you will get del equal to 1 by 2, which is nothing but 0.5. So we have found omega n is 2 and del is 0.5. Once we know del and omega n, we can find out all the parameters. So the next step is find omega d. Omega d is equal to omega n square root of 1 minus del square. So substituting this del and omega n value, we will get omega d equal to 2 square root of 1 minus 0.5 square. So we will get omega d equal to 1.732 radian per second. Okay, and we can also find what is the del value, that is theta. So theta can be found from this expression cos inverse of del. Cos theta equal to delta, so we can find out theta equal to cos inverse of del. So once we know omega d and theta, okay, we can find all the time domain specifications. So the so substituting this, so delay time, the expression is 1 plus 0.5 del divided by omega n. Substituting this, we will get dd equal to 0.675 second, and rise time equal to pi minus theta divided by omega d, where theta we know it is cos inverse of del, already we have found. and substituting this expression TR equal to pi minus pi by 3 divided by 1.732. So already we have found omega t as 1.732. So in this expression pi has to be in the radian. Pi you can take as a radian value 1.734. Okay, it is not in degree, so it should be if you substitute this as a degree 180, you will get a wrong because the time should be in second. So replace pi equal to 1.73, and you can use a pi value from the calculator also, and the rise time it is found as 1.207 second. So next we can find out the peak time. Tp equal to pi divided by omega d. So pi divided by 1.732, you will get 1.81. Okay, we have found as 1.813 second. Then percentage of peak is e power minus del pi divided by square root of 1 minus del square into 100. So here you can replace the del with 0.5. So you will get MP equal to 16.32%. Okay, and settling time, you can use this expression for settling time. For 2% it is 4 by del omega n. If it is 5%, its value is 3 divided by del omega n. You can use this expression in order to find out the settling time. It is 4 seconds. So when you find all this time, delay time, rise time, peak time, it should be in this order. That is TD should be less than TR, and which is in less than TP and TS. So it should follow this. So for a problem, if you get a higher value of rise time compared to the TP, then this problem is wrong. The result or answer is wrong. So it should be in this order. Delay time first comes, then rise time, then peak time, then settling time. So in this way, you can find out the time domain specification. So in most of the cases, the problem statement will be like this. So will be given open loop transfer function. In that case, you have find the closed loop transfer function CFS by RFS by using the expression GFS divided by 1 plus GFS HFS. After that, you compare the closed loop transfer function that is given in your problem with omega n square divided by s square plus 2 delta omega n s plus omega n square. That is a standard second order equation. After comparing, you find out the omega n and delta value, that is damping factor and the natural frequency of the system. Once you find out these two factors, the next step is to write all the time domain specifications and its related formulas. Then you substitute the value of del and omega n. Finally, you will get all the time domain specifications. This is the procedure you have to follow for solving this kind of problems. Okay. So with this session, with this, we conclude the session. So in this sessions, we have discussed about time domain specification such as delay time, rise time, peak overshoot, and settling time. Then after that, we have developed the expression, that is we derived the expression for time domain specifications. Then finally, we have taken one problem for solving the time domain specification. Okay, I hope you all understand the concept of time domain specification and how to solve problem. And you should also remember this time domain specification related expression, that is formula, definitely one problem will be asked from this section. Thank you.